If we can start friends in, let's have fun.
Great.
Let's have fun with, let me actually mute all these folks first before it starts to go crazy. Suzy, I'll make you a co-host so you can come off mute whenever you want. All right, you guys, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, man. It is so good to be back with you. I am still in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. Amanda and I fly back to California tonight, but I am in a utility closet / room. But we're going to make this thing happen today. You guys talk to us, fill up the chat. I haven't seen you in a couple days. Drop a whole bunch of sevens in the chat for Michelle and Josh Bomba for just rocking it out. I saw the replay to last Saturday, and that thing just looked amazing. Looks like we're able to start a whole bunch of new clients and coaches with our Help and Hope Night. And today, you guys know we have the one and the only. I'm so excited for you guys to meet Integrated Presidential Director Suzy Heyman in a minute. If you don't know, I promise you in the next 58 minutes, you will know. You're going to want to hold on to your seat. It is going to be like a fire hose that literally is going to slap you in the face in a good way. Gosh, I'm so excited and so honored to have Suzy on with us today. A little bit about Suzy. I remember years ago, I was walking into Sundance, and like sometimes folks see you from the outside, but you don't really see yourself as that person. And I was feeling, pretty darn new. If I'm being honest, I was feeling a little bit unqualified. I saw Suzy for the first time, and I was just like, man, this girl is a rock star, just crazy. And what her and her husband Mitch and their organization have been able to do, and I mean, since her genesis with coaching, and I'm sure she'll get into that, but I would say if they don't have the fastest growing organization, it is definitely one of the fastest in all of Optavia. The way they have grown over the past, certainly 3 years, has been explosionary. I'm just making up words now. I'm on her coattails. I'm a student. I'm always texting her. I'm always trying to figure out what are they doing, because there has certainly they have found the combinations to the lock and has really figured this thing out. And for her to spend her time this morning with us, it's a huge honor. They have just moved into a new place. So she says, Jamil, when we get on, you might hear some banging in the background because we got some contractors, but you should see the place that they got. Holy cow. And so I'm honored. So if you guys can do me a favor and drop a whole bunch of sevens in the chat to welcome IPD Suzy Heyman on with us today. Let's get this thing cracking. Suzy. Good morning.
I don't know if I can live up to that. Don't you all feel like he's just the best at introducing people? And the funniest thing is, I remember the first time at Sundance, I saw Jamil. And then how about they put us together to speak one time at an event? And that was probably the worst event I've ever led, because next to Jamil, I didn't know what I was doing. He's incredible on stage. He's just the best. So thank you so much. I'm excited to be here with all of you.
Man, so we're excited to have you. I remember that. Gosh, when did we speak together? That was feels like years ago now.
Go Global events. And
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I sort of prep you a little bit. We have lots of coaches. How many coaches are on? Just drop them one in the chat if you are pursuing executive director for the first time. So Suzy can see who she's kind of talking to, and put a 2 in the chat if you're pursuing a fully integrated business coach. So many of the coaches on here are newer, Suzy. Do us a favor, take us back to sort of how you got involved with Optavia. What's your background and what sort of attracted you to this company?
Well, in the past, I've worn all kinds of hats. I was always trying to find what fulfilled me, and I always ran into a brick road, or a brick wall, I should say. And I never felt fulfilled, so I would just kept getting bored and moving on. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but I went to school for accounting. That was boring for me. Then I went to school for dental hygiene and I got a degree in that. But did I want to clean teeth forever? I didn't know if that was for me. So I went into digital radiography sales. And then one day after several years of that, I'm like, I don't think I want to see a dentist ever again. So I mean, I'm telling you, I just kept moving along my path. And then I became more entrepreneurial. I started doing home-based businesses and creating my own businesses. And they did well, as well as could be expected. But when I did a lot of the home-based businesses that were, direct sales, I would end up spending more than I made, and my husband would get upset by that. And so when he wanted to get on this program, because his brother and sister-in-law are our coaches, and he wanted to get on this program, I didn't want to. I knew about it forever, and I was on a kick for the year before that, you know, those one of those, all natural everything, no, nothing packaged. Yet I was, 50 pounds overweight, but I knew best. I was one of those. And he wanted to get started on this, and I didn't agree to it. So he went ahead and just ordered it anyway. It came, it sat on our dining room table. And about 15 days in, he's like, Suzy, I don't want to get stuck with this. If you're not going to do it with me, we've got to return it. It was all of a sudden on me to return. So I
Right.
took it out on Sunday, the 11th of January 2015. I took it off the dining room table, opened it up to even look at what I was returning. And I was like, I could eat a chocolate bar. I could eat this. And so I started January 12th with him. We shared one box to start. By 4 days in, I knew my energy. You know the drill, right? What happens. And by the end of the first week, all my girlfriends were going to want to do it. So I became a coach by the end of the first week. Mitchell was not on board. My husband was not on board because I
Really?
had this pattern of, spending more money than I made with these home-based businesses. I did Unique, I did Pampered Chef, I sold energy, I sold something called Pro Tandem, I sold jewelry. I mean, I did it all. And he's like, no, just let's do the program and no. And I said, shh, don't stop me. I'm going to go anyway. And thank God that I like to point that out to him constantly, that he tried to stop us from this. No. And so I came home I stopped working 5 months in. I stopped all those other things. 3 months later, Mitchell was able to come home. Were we where we needed to be? Probably not. He probably
Right.
came home a little too prematurely, but we had young children. He helped me at night with bathing them and showering them, getting them into bed so I could really focus on the business, and it worked out well.
Okay, so take us back then, because you just said a lot, and I want to unpack that a little bit.
Mhm.
What happened? Why did you become a coach so quickly? And then why did you let all those other things go so fast? Because you said it was only about, what, 5 months or so?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
Okay, so what happened?
the reason I became the coach is because I kept referring. Referred 7 people the first week over to if I like something, I'm going to talk it up. And I was telling all my girlfriends, so I sent them over to my coach. And then finally she's like, on day 7, do you want to become the coach? I'm like, I'm a fat girl. I can't be a health coach. That seems a little weird. Well, you, the fat girl, has 7 people that's doing this program now. And I started thinking about it, and he's over there. No. I'm like, you know what? If I could cover the cost of my food and his food, because we're going to need to order the second box today, it was one weekend. And I said, I'm just going to do it. What's the worst that could happen? I've wasted $200 before in my life. That was my mindset. And so it really started to grow. I did not understand. There was no model back then. I didn't really understand anything but just, bringing on clients. And I did. And, I got to ED that for in several weeks, and it started growing, but it was just like this. It wasn't until I went to see Dr. Anderson speak. He lived I lived in Maryland at the time. He lived not too far away, and he would hold events. And I went to the event, and he said something that I'll never forget. He said, add 5 clients and one becomes a coach. Who adds 5 clients and one becomes a coach. Who adds 5 clients and one becomes a coach. You keep doing this month after month. At month 8, you're at 18 grand a month income. And I was like, I got in the car on the way home. I go, I'm doing it all wrong, Mitchell. I'm doing it all wrong. I got to add coaches. I got to find people. And he's like, okay. And that was I shifted my focus because I had tons of clients, lots of candidates in there, but I didn't know anything about that. So I shifted it. And that year, the incentive trip came out, they announced it in July at convention, and it was to San Diego.
Mm,
And
mhm.
that month, it was a point basis type of thing. Like you had to earn points. That month, I had my 5 people that I brought on as coaches right after Dr. A talked. All of them hit for the they hit executive director that month. I was the first person to earn that rewards trip, the incentive trip that month, the first month it was announced. It just was luck of the draw, you know, how it lined up.
Right.
But so I was really excited about that. And that was because I shifted my mindset to sponsoring. And that's how
Well,
it kind of took
did
off.
you set like a goal to reach executive director? Like, was that, what was your mindset back then? And how did you actually, because we got a lot of folks on here that like in these next 10 days, we're going to have to really put the pedal to the metal, right? So do you remember what you were thinking back there? What was your mindset, or how did you start helping all these people? Because you said you went ED in how long?
A couple weeks. A couple weeks.
How?
Because my goal was to get in front of as many people as possible. And so social media, I mean, you only see X number of people a day. So I would literally send out messages. Hey, I don't know if you know about, you know, this program I started. It's really, I'm already down this. I have more energy. I have no cravings. And if you know anyone that could benefit from it, I'd love any referrals. I'm really trying to help people with this because I've had such impact. I would just send out these personal messages, and then I would do posting. I would friend as many people, exactly what we do today, but I did it early on.
So, okay. Okay. I guess why were you doing these things?
Because
Like, did you have a
one,
goal that was set, or like,
I didn't
what was the
understand
deal?
the whole executive director thing. You know, you don't, when you come on, you don't understand
Right.
ranks. I just wanted to help as many people as possible. And then when I saw the income growing from it, because I also, there was this little internal thing to prove my husband wrong. I
Mm.
can't, I'm going to be honest with you, because he did not want me to do this. And, you know, he's been right about a lot of things like that. So when I didn't listen to him, that's all I needed was for him to say, I told you so. Why do
Right.
you waste our money? So I kind of just wanted to bust it, you know, just really blow it out. And that was kind of one of my goals. And I'm the kind of person that needs that internal competition. I don't even put it out there and tell anyone. I do like to tell Dan Valentine that he motivated me, because I went to an event 3 months in, and it was in Phoenix or Scottsdale. I don't remember. It was in Tucson. I don't know, somewhere in Arizona. And I saw him up on stage. I didn't know what global director was, but he got
Right.
there in 7 months. And I came home and I told my husband, I'm going to beat him. I didn't. I got there in 7.5, but I needed that that's how I work.
Okay. So,
I love to tell Dan, thank you for you.
okay. So, um, you didn't have a lot of times we get in our own way. You didn't have any of that? Like,
No,
you weren't, why not? You weren't nervous, you weren't scared, you weren't thinking like, oh, these people are gonna think I'm trying to get them, or like what? Talk to us about that, because I know, did I have some of that? I don't remember, but I know that a lot of folks do. What would you say to that?
what I did have, I was a little teeny bit embarrassed because I looked like I was hawking every product out there, because I had come from jewelry, makeup, Pamper Chef. I mean, I did everything. So I was a little embarrassed, like, oh gosh, what is she doing now? But time takes care of that. Time and consistency takes care of that. So you have to like kind of just put it out there. You know, they're talking behind your back. Okay, but you know what? I'm on a mission, because I know how good I feel, and I haven't been able to lose weight doing what every doctor recommended by eating healthy and all that. It wasn't working for me. I found the secret, so I don't care what everyone says about me. I'm going to share it for those that are open to hearing about it, and that's what it was. And let me tell you, the block button or the defriend button really becomes your friend, because people are nasty, people are haters, and they will be distractors. So I totally, one time somebody did a post, they didn't mention my name, but my husband's like, it's definitely about you, Suzy. It could have been about me or my sister-in-law, because we lived in the same town. We were both successful in the business, but they just went to town on everything, and it disturbed him. I blocked every person that, the person that wrote it, and blocked every person that commented, which was a lot. And I never saw them ever again. So they don't exist to me. You know what I mean? So they never took me out of the game. He brought it up for months. This one's this one. And so now, I mean, now he's a different person now, but that's how I did it.
Uh, would would you say you had a lot of self-confidence back then, Susie? Is that how you were able to do that, or what was it? What was it about you?
Well,
Because this is odd,
yeah,
right? You would
I'm
agree?
odd. Clearly, similar. She's a character. I am. I am unique. I am unique, and I just realized I'm in control of my own destiny. You never want to take advice from someone whose life you wouldn't want to trade places with. And these people, I mean, most of them stay-at-home moms putting me down. Most, I mean, they're not. They weren't me. So how could they comment on it? Nobody who's truly successful will ever put you down. They're never going to knock you if they're truly successful. So that's kind of the mindset I took, and it's not easy. And I teach that to this day because a lot of people don't have that attitude. But I saw how good it worked for me. I had this energy. I was shrinking. My cholesterol numbers were coming down. How could I not just scream it from the rooftops? That's how I
Yeah,
felt.
yeah. That's amazing. A couple things that I don't want them to miss. You were motivated. I mean, you already said you went to Dr. A's event. You went to an event in Arizona.
Mhm.
Um,
You have to
you
go to
were
events. You
you
have to.
were you were already plugging yourself in. At what point in time did you realize, like, man, this could be like legit?
Well, I will tell you, I had no plan to go to any events. My brother-in-law said, after, because he got back from an incentive trip in Mexico, because I started in January, so I didn't qualify that. It was the next month, I think February or March. It was in Mexico, and he sat in a hot tub with a top leader at the time, Terry Miller, and he learned what was possible. Okay. And he came home and he's like, "You're crazy, Susie. If you don't go all in," and just family dynamics, I didn't want to hear that from him. And so I wasn't going to any events. And so they kept pushing, pushing, pushing. And I had a jewelry business that I had shows booked during the time of these events. And so I'm not going to miss the money coming in. But
Right.
then I started realizing I could hire someone to do it for me. If they might not make as much money, but what if what
Mhm.
he's saying is true? And if it really is possible, why can't I be better than anyone? I'm not saying I am, but this is my mindset. Why it's not like those certain people can only rise to the top. Why can't I become the best in my head? So that's the kind of mindset I always go into everything, and that's what I did here.
Where'd you get that mindset from?
It's hard to say. I have a book that's coming out that's totally goes into that. I mean, my parents are very entrepreneurial, but I'm more like that than them. I really am. I failed a lot. I have failed a lot, and had huge losses. I lost my mom, I lost my sister, and I went into deep, deep depression for years. And I was such a victim. Things just kept happening to me until I started reading. And I read The Compound Effect, and your life can compound negatively or positively. And mine was, oh my gosh, it was on a track of compounding negatively. So I realized no one's saving me here. I have to save myself. And it's all about what I believe. Will there be people that try to be blockers along the way? Always, in anything you do. You see it in political campaigns, you see it in anything. There's always going to be haters. So they can't define me. As long as I believe, and if you clean up your act, that everything you do is firmly what you believe, that you don't have to look over your shoulder or cover your tracks, then you are clean living. And that is how I shifted my mindset, and that's how I move forward.
Okay, take us back. Take us back to when you didn't even know you're like running for executive director or what it
Yeah,
was or
yeah.
whatever.
Just
But
wanted
what did life look like? Because you're obviously married, you have children.
Mhm.
None of these guys are going to believe, but how old are you?
I'm gonna be 52 this summer in a couple months. Mhm.
Okay, so take us back. So you got a jewelry business, you got some other businesses going on at this point in time. How many kids do you have at this point in time?
4.
Four
Mhm.
kids.
Mhm. Yeah.
4 kids. Okay. Your wife,
Mhm.
multiple things going on.
Yeah. Craziness. Yeah.
What did it look like and how were you able to maneuver all that stuff?
Well, I would go to therapy. Okay. I had a therapist. I would go to therapy and I would sit there and say, I got to bring my husband home from his job somehow. He ran car dealerships and it was miserable. You were only as good as the month before. Every day you're like fearing that you're going to be, let go. It was just a horrible stress on our marriage. Some months great income, some months really small. So you never knew, there was nothing consistent and it was really stressful. And we were robbing Peter to pay Paul in every way. I mean, really badly. I mean, it was just, whatever we could do to stay afloat. And that's all I knew. Yet I had every designer bag. I would take my kids on the fanciest cruises. From outside looking in, we had it together. Okay. But it was the biggest mess. I can't, it's just shocking. It's just funny when you're, when you're living it, you can't see it. When you remove yourself from it, you're like, that is pathetic. That is beyond pathetic. And it needed to happen. So it was a pretty mess. I mean, 3 nights a week Chick-fil-A because I didn't have time. And, the kids were involved in everything. We'd go through the drive-through. It's something they'd all eat. So that was easy. Yeah, it was so unhealthy for all of us. It spent so much money on eating out, so much money in the wrong places. It was just a mess. It really was. And again, he thought this was the wrong direction. And what happened was, when I saw the potential and I really started to understand the business a little more, maybe that was January, I started maybe around April or May, I started thinking, if I didn't do my jewelry business at the end of the year, like, because my big times were around Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, and the holiday season. Those are all my shows as jewelries when we were selling that. I thought if I didn't do that and I sold that business, I'd go all in here. And what could possibly happen? Mitchell was not on board with that either. He thought that's scary because we have money. That was my bread and butter for me. I brought in money during that. I said, I could always go back to it. I'm going to go away from it. I'm going to try to, I sold it and I'm going to go all in. And
it wasn't scary.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's very scary, but the worst, like, this is what I tell people, like, they're like, I can't leave my job. I can't, whatever. It's not like you lose that skill set. I mean, there's a million jobs like that out there. You could always go back to it. So I could always start back up. Even if I sold my business, I'm the brand. I could always start back up with buying jewelry and reselling it somewhere. So, it wasn't the worst case. And then it really started gel. I told you I got the awards trip. And then it really started to gel. And then I had to learn. I sat forever at a T-Gen V of 30 to 40,000. Okay, I sat there forever. And so I was like, what am I doing wrong? I knew how, so it wasn't duplicable. I knew how to bring on clients. I knew how to bring on coaches. I did not know how to coach them to do the same. And
Right.
until I put my energy into it and developed a system, I stayed there. I just sat there.
Right. In the early days, don't want to stay there did you have sort of an income goal that you wanted to meet?
Well, I just wanted to see it increasing. I mean, it was more money than I ever made. I remember in 2000, I could tell you in 2016, June of 2016, I had my kids. I'm Jewish. I had a double bar mitzvah for my kids. And I mean, went into serious debt over that. Okay. It was a lot of money put out and I didn't have it. And my bonus that month, so that was a year and a half in, was $12,000. And
Mhm.
I'm so proud of myself. That was a lot of money plus my weeklies. I was so proud, but I really knew that something had to change if I was ever going to grow that. And I had to understand it more. And I had to be really committed because you only will go so far. Your sphere will only go so far. You have to like get creative and get outside of your sphere because you only know X number of people, even if you're super popular, super connected. So I had to really understand how to do that. And that all developed in the beginning of 2017.
Mm-hmm. So then talk to us about that. So you reach executive director,
Mhm.
see a little bit of money coming in.
Yep.
You're like, this is interesting.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll go to some event, even though maybe kicking and screaming.
Right.
Mitch is not all in on this thing. You got 4 kids, you're still working a jewelry business. How'd you do that, by the way? Were you just like compartmentalizing time and saying, I'm going to spend this time on Optavia, or I'm just doing it in the nooks and the crannies? And what do you say to the people who say they don't have time, Suzy, right now?
Yeah, well, that's a biggie. People say that all the time. And I'm like, listen, I had 3 businesses, 4 kids, my husband, I had dogs. I mean, I had no, you fit it in. Whatever is important to you, somehow you make it happen. It's not important enough. It's just not important enough. And that's okay. But let's be real about it, because you do have time. I have people who are IPD that I watched from the sidelines of every lacrosse game, every soccer game. They didn't sit at, they would be on doing their calls. They would be driving home from work doing their calls. I have somebody that never did the program. Amy Lippman never did the program. She worked full time in the school system. On lunch break, she's out in her car. She was on every call that I did at 12 o'clock. She didn't miss anything. She got to IPD as working full time with no story. And she just left last June. Okay, so it's possible. These people have to want it badly enough. And let me tell you, the road to the top isn't so paved and beautiful. It is going to hurt, sting. There's going to be tears, but it is so worth it. Nothing that's difficult, you will not regret it at the end. But if it's super easy, you won't go anywhere. You'll stay right in the same place.
So what happens from executive director? Where do you go from there?
So from executive director, that's when Dr. Anderson's opened my eyes that I had to start sponsoring. So you have to look at who you have. We have a beautiful business that you can decide who you want to partner with. It's not them deciding. Yes, I want to put, they're all going to say no, but you have to not be afraid to say, no, I hear you. I can totally understand. What exactly are you saying no to? That's my favorite question. What are you saying no to? Oh, I'm not going to be a coach. Well, what is it? What is being a coach look like to you? Because they have a wrong perception. Everyone does. It sounds so hard. It sounds like this little dinky company. You don't know where their mindset's coming from. So don't be afraid to ask. And it's shocking what you get back. Sometimes they will say, I don't have the time. And if you know that you're not a hero coach and you know you spend as minimal as possible time with them, but most efficient, effective time, then you say, what kind of time does it look like it takes? Because if you knew truly what I did, how much fun it is, how much I earn from it, there's no way you wouldn't be open to even hearing about it. I mean, that's how confident I come at them. Okay. And some people might say, she's pushy, she's this and that. I said, why do you think? Why do you think? Maybe I know what you don't know. And I feel really selfish if I don't show you, because if you weren't exposed to this and had the opportunity, I'd be upset if I didn't know about it, knowing what I know now.
When you went to the event, you saw Dan Valentine. Dan says 7 months. Yeah. By the way, just incredible stuff.
Dan, yeah.
You come back home. How do you go global in 7.5 months? Well,
wherever you put your energy is going to grow. So I had all these clients. I mean, I had probably 40 some clients. I had a lot of clients by the time I left Dr. A's. I mean, groups talk. And so if you have one person, you have to educate them on how to not talk about the program. Because if they go and tell everyone, oh, it's Optavia, the way it works is they'll go on optavia.com, push the button for more information, become a lead. You have to show them the incentive for them not to. I would love to show you how I can help you out on your next order, but don't give out the information because I don't know what they need. You don't know what they need. I have to do a health assessment. Call it whatever your group is. What's your group called? What's your health? Your
client site? Yeah. Healthy habits.
Yeah, so it's called Healthy Habits. So mine, we have a bunch of mine's called Healthy Living. So, it's Healthy Living. They can search all day. They're not going to find any information on it. The only way to hear about it is to get on a call with me. So don't give them my number, get their number, give it to me. Let the onus be on me to call. I educated everyone on that. And so I would get them talking. I would show them why coaching. I mean, of course, everyone's no at first, but you have to show them why. And I showed them how easy and how quickly I paid for my food. And then I paid for Mitchell's food and how fun. I still do all of this. It's fun. I'm not like constantly working. I could do it whenever I want. I showed them the benefits and I asked them, each person's different. So you don't want to just sell what we do because that might not match them. You hear with them, I like to be, some people just want a mission. Some people want to have something for themselves. This is a great way to have that. I had a girl that's extremely wealthy. Her dad was in Forbes magazine as one of the wealthiest people. She has a trust fund, but she can't spend her own money. Okay. She was a client. She kept sending me people, would never take the referral credits, never take it. Finally, I totaled up everyone, how much she would have made. And I said, I just want you to know you would have made several $1,000s. And I gave it to her. Shut up. Because honestly, I would love that because she couldn't even go buy jeans. She couldn't, I mean, it's the craziest thing.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
she became a coach. And I mean, you just never know people's scenarios. So you want to just ask questions. A lot of people are afraid to come off pushy. That's the fear in a lot of coaches.
Right.
And they're
Right.
afraid to ask why. When they hear a no, they're like, okay, I'm here when you're ready. Okay. Which is one of the worst things you can do. It's one of the worst things you can do. If you're going for executive director, we know 17 full-size orders as an executive director. So out of 17 people, 1 out of every 5 is going to be a candidate, sometimes 2 out of 5. So
Yes.
you have to be coaching them correctly from the onset. And let me tell you, those first few days on program make the biggest difference, because if you have the biggest impact the first week, it's going to be more attractionable when they go to post for you to everyone else who sees them, how excited they are about it. It's all on you, really, how you handle the first few days.
What do you mean, Suzy, when you just said when they go to post for you?
Okay, so what happened in 2017 when I told you guys I knew I had to do something different is we were at another Go Global event in Atlanta. Go Global is not around anymore. It was for EDs on up. But we were at an event. I was there with 12 people from my team. And we went out to dinner one night and I sat there at dinner. I said, we have got to think of a way to get into the spheres of these people that are doing well. So we came up with, the company did something like the celebration call. We did something, we changed it to the tip call. So you might hear the wording tip call. We
Sure.
created that wording. So what happens is when somebody at day 7, if they're doing well, they love it, they have a good sphere of friends, and or they're posting on Facebook, because a lot of people post on the Facebook group at day 7, down 6 pounds. Oh my gosh, I feel so good. You must strike while the iron's hot with them. Because if they're doing that on there, they're at work, guys, they're so excited and they're talking about it everywhere. So we have got to get to them because they don't know how to do this correctly. So we need to set up a call with them. And it's usually in our business is run by the FIBC, and we sit quietly and the FIBC runs it. And they are going through congratulating them on, oh, wow, what an amazing week. Tell me how you're feeling, what's improved, all of that. Tell me, because let me tell you, you could have a great first week and not be solid on program. It's just a contrast to where you came from. So they're going to be set up for failure the next week. So we go through another set of eyes, goes through quickly their program, what they're doing. We see if we need to tweak anything. And then who's noticing? What are you telling them? And you will hear many times, oh, I tell them, I show them my food, which inside I'm like, oh gosh, so I'm like, okay, well, the best way, and I give them the advice, is to really not tell them all. We don't know what program they would be best for them, and give them the name of Healthy Habits and get their number and read, and you'll have your coach reach out. That is the best way. If we were to give you the exact wording, would you consider doing a posting on your Facebook, sharing the experience, also giving Jamil a shout out? And because they love Jamil, they might I've usually seen this. Would you consider doing a post because you love Jamil? Oh, all right. Well, yeah, for Jamil, I'll do it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some people will be like, no, I'm really private. Some people are like, sure. You've
Yeah.
got to strike while the iron's hot. Take advantage of those that will let you, and let you provide that. And then we give them the wording and we tell them all you do is you copy the wording, you paste it, make sure you tag Jamil, and
Right.
underneath your name it needs to be set to public. If you post it and you have a little globe that everyone could see it, if it's 2 little friends heads, it's going to be very limited, and you don't need to do anything else. You just sit back as everyone's like, wow, what program, I need this, what is it? You don't even need to respond. Jamil will just come in there. But if anyone sees your message and they privately send you a message like, dude, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Don't answer, take a screenshot of it, come back to the group that we talked about getting on this call, because we were on a tip call at that point,
Right.
paste it in there and we'll give you the exact wording on how to respond.
Right.
So there's no work for them at all. And we don't want them responding.
Exactly.
Okay? We want us providing the wording. That has transformed our entire business. So in 2016, I told you we made 12 grand a month in June.
Right.
So this came out in February we started that in February. It took a while to roll it out. By July of 2017, because that's as far as the whole system goes back, is we made 17 grand. By December of 2017, 28 grand. 2018, December, 85 grand. Okay. It's compounded massively since. This model has been rolled out. And that's just one part of the model. And it is so easy, but it gets into the spheres of everybody.
Okay, so whew, you guys take a breath real fast. You just hear that? So Suzy, what do you what let me just take a breath myself. So you're at a training. By the way, you guys, please go to trainings. And by the way, you said you took 12 people.
12 people to
Please
that
take
event.
people.
Oh, let me
Be,
tell
go
you
for
don't
it.
know forget even what the event's about. It's the connections. You will not believe. You will meet people that just inspire you, that you will hear stories that you're like, wait a minute, I'm making excuses that I have to work, 50 hours a week. And this person has this. I mean, you will see that you are not going about this the right way, and it will motivate you to become the best version of yourself. When you put yourself around people that are like-minded, or you're the least, smartest in the room, you rise up. This will level you up. And that's what we all need. We need to become better versions of ourselves. So you want to submerge yourself around them. You should be signed up for convention. It's going to sell out very quickly. Any event that Jamil has, you don't want to miss that. I mean, I wish I could get into his events. I'm being honest with you. There.
Roll out. Roll out. Okay, Suzy. I love how you just did that. Okay, so what are you thinking when you are, what you say? You said that following December, whatever, what you say, 85 or 88?
What, in December of 2018?
Yeah, whenever you stop
85.
telling them.
Yeah.
85.
Yeah.
So when you're earning 85 grand a month.
Well, that was my goal, by the way, because I always wanted to.
Okay. So you did have a goal. I knew it because I did too.
Right. Not originally, but once I
Okay.
started going, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be a millionaire. I mean,
Okay, so why 85 then?
well, it was 83, at first.
Me too.
Yeah. At first, because I mean, it sounds crazy, you guys, because here you are, you're in this business, and I've done all these home-based businesses. You can't make more than $3,000 a month if you're killing it, And so the fact that it was starting to gel, I'm like, I'm gonna keep going until I get to there. And then when you see you're on your path to there, then you keep raising it up and raising it up, and you don't even want to know my goal now. But I will tell you this, that my goal always in life, once I started shifting my mindset, was to be a billionaire at the age of 60, but now it's 54. So I am on a fast track.
Yeah.
And the beauty is, if I don't hit it, I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? Like, you just shooting for the moon, landing on the stars. And you have to always push yourself. And when you learn the fun of pushing yourself and pushing others, so what I would always do with others, I would give them small goals. So I would bring on, like, I have a coach, Allison Freeman, who earns over $2 million a year. And I would give her small goals. Okay. Cause she came on during an incentive in December where it was, what was that? The Dash. Okay. In 2017. And so I said, 5, I need you to bring on, let's focus on 5. She got to 5 and she's like, okay, I go 5 more and 5 more. So she earned that. She's actually one short of that 25. For the Dash, you get 25, it was $2,700 extra dollars. She was one short, but I showed her in little small doses, because people can only handle little teeny bits. I felt really proud of the way I did it with her, because it was different than how I trained everyone else. I was like a fire hose, just giving it all. And people, it's just like when you do a journey kickoff, it's so much information hitting them at one time. And you wonder why. I told you. How on day 1 are you doing it wrong? I told you what to do. It's because it's not that they don't intend to do it correctly. It's a lot of information coming at you, and it's hard to process, and you don't know what they're taking in. So small, little teeny things, little goals, little increments, and you reiterate it until you know they've mastered it. And that's what we do.
Okay, so there's a lot of growth, and I know with growth comes pain. And I know with even more growth comes even more tremendous pain. So what difficulties or what pains have you had, not even to where you're at right now, but even if we go just in the early days, maybe even from the run from, that ED to global, or, maybe ED to presidential, because I think a lot of times you said it's not linear. So what difficulties were in there, and how do you stay motivated? Because when I'm working with coaches, and there's so many coaches on this line, something difficult happens, and then you're like, and then you just go bye-bye, like, and you start to get disappointed and you start to get discouraged, and then you stop doing the action, and then every little thing that happens in life, you stop doing the things that is going to help you become who you want to become. So what were some of the challenges and how did you push through them?
Well, we joke about it today. I had one coach that would literally call me and I'd have the phone here and she just would scream at me. And she's still around and she's an IPD and we love to bring that up. Well, I do. And she laughs and she used to say, I thought this was my business. This is not your business. Cause I would call different people in her business and she would freak out. And then one day you cannot fight. If Jamil's showing you something and you're here at this level, why does the ego come in that people wouldn't take the advice of someone whose business they want? So one day she just said, okay, I'm just going to do whatever you tell me to do. I'm just going to surrender here to this. And so it just takes evolving and mindset on the coach part. But we've had those problems. We've had, oh my gosh, I had all kinds of, we'd had mental issues. Someone committed suicide, There was the first coach that ever happened. We've had deaths, other deaths. We've had divorces, because what happens with Optavia people is they grow. And sometimes they're partnered up with people who are not growing. And that is a big wedge that happens. And so you see that a lot of times. So they have to work on their marriage to see that both people can get aligned and the partner grows with them. So that's happened for sure. But yeah, there's been a lot of things. There's been dishonesty. And I will tell you, when you put your foot down and you do not have a culture and you will not be accepting of a culture that plays below the line in any way, it changes things. Like these groups that we have on Facebook are not Optavia controlled. They're controlled by us. We created these groups. So there's not a law or a guideline that we have to keep anyone in there. If someone doesn't play by the rules, they are out of all groups across the board. So their clients stay in there, but they're gone. All right. And that's because we cannot taint our culture whatsoever. Okay. And that means someone that would use a different email and put an order in under someone, just any cheating of the system whatsoever does not accept. First of all, it looks very bad on Jamil because, or me or any leader, because they see it all. Everything can see. They can see if you put an extra box in to get to a certain order. They can see everything. And that looks like it was trained from us on down. So it looks bad on us. And that disrespect, that you wouldn't have the integrity, is not someone that we want to partner with. So those are the types of things that we avoid, that we don't play with.
And what just interpersonal challenges, like, because in this, like, I think about my journey and I'm completely different than I was when I started. So what were sort of the breaking and the rippings and just difficulties that you had to battle through just yourself to, push forward?
Well, I have a strong personality. I don't know if you know that. Right? And I'm going to have you all sign an NDA and not have that get out. So I have a strong personality. And when I would do some of these calls with these coaches and their clients, I would rub the clients the wrong way. And the coaches would have to come to me afterwards and they're like, she doesn't want to do a call with you ever again. I just want to tell you. And I'm like, all right. And at first it would sting, it would hurt, I would get angry. And then I'm like, I need to have this honest feedback. It's the only way I'm going to grow. Tell me where I need to improve. So I have encouraged everyone, only if they can handle it. So we go 2 up, 2 down. Tell me if you can handle it. Ask me if you want it, and then we give feedback across the board. And this started, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And it really has helped. Some things are an eye opener because, again, when you're in it, you can't see what others see. Sometimes our perspective is very different. So I had to work on that. And I love, people will tell me at different events, they'll be on stage and like, oh my gosh, when Suzy used to do my calls, I was like sitting there petrified that, and then I don't know what she did, but she's so much better now. It's just funny. And we grew. I was one way. You have to adapt to a personality, and I didn't know how to do that. So that was a learning curve.
How'd you grow?
The feedback, I had to process it all, and also reading, whatever you're not good at, there's books on everything you can find. And I have that coach, Amy Littman, that I told you about, is a real mild-mannered person. She's really soft-spoken, and she would speak, and every other word would be, and she wanted to be featured on things. I was like, okay, I have to tell you, you're going to have to get some help with speaking. I don't know what else to say. You're going to have to hire someone, because the end, you got to record yourself talking on a Zoom and then watch it back. let
Right.
me tell you, I'm like a beaming proud mother. Not only did she hire someone that does that, like teaches for TED Talks, she's now everyone in my whole organization has used them, but she is amazing. She has spoken on the stage because she got to IPD. She was on there last year. And I mean, it's like a different person. I'm so proud of her. It's just great. So it's just being open to feedback. And as you grow, people who aren't open to feedback and take them as personal attacks and hits, they're just not evolved. And
Yeah.
that's okay. It just takes time. So you have to know your audience and asking permission. Are you open to any feedback that you know it comes with love? I just want you to be the best version and I want the same. I want you to give me the same because I will never get better unless you share this with me. Being open. And that's the kind of culture that I try to create.
What would you say to the people who are on here and they want more, they want man, they desire more, they crave more. I think like you and I did and do, and they're just scared, man. They've been toe dipping, and let me just kind of dip my toe in and not submerge myself. They have the talent, Suzy. They do. They're just freaking scared.
There's fear in everything because the unknown is scary. But my thing is, what's the worst case scenario? They can't stand you. They call you a name. They don't buy the product. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? I say it's the obstacle is the way. You go for it, you try it out. It's just like any brand new coach that comes on board. They don't know how to do a health assessment. They're petrified. They listen to you do a few, a couple, and then they ask the questions and then they have to do it. And that is a scary call. Not even is it just a scary call. The fact that they're being listened to is even scarier. They're put on a stage. And you know what? Everyone does it. We're all here. We all made it through that. So whatever is scary, I would go towards. I mean, I'm just telling you, what scares me is like the stupidest things. Like I am scared technically. I don't know how to run a spreadsheet. I don't know how, but I know how to sum. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, if I'm gonna have to do that, I get scared. I have committed to, I cannot be scared anymore. Enough already. I have got to learn that. So I'm hiring someone to teach me that. So it's just whatever you're scared of, there's a reason. It's keeping you here. That fear is keeping you here. You're not going anywhere. You got to go towards the fear.
Yeah. Um, okay. How's you've been coaching for how long now?
7 years.
7 years. How's life changed in the last 7 years?
Well,
Honestly.
it's 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 hard to put into words. It's hard to put into words, but when you start to realize what is possible, your dreams become like it's not even dreams anymore, just desires. I mean, this is going to happen and they're humongous things. So that's just a weird mindset right there. But we went from a lot of debt in January 2017, 100 grand of debt, and shifted all that. Now today, we've built up a lot of wealth and I'm excited because once you do bring in money, you have more options, more options. And the funny thing is that along the way, what has also shifted, not just us, is the people we align with. So I had this one accountant down here. I mean, basically, I should have been doing TurboTax. Okay. And then I moved on, and that was a higher level person that would only see $1 million net worth or higher. And then
Yeah.
I thought that I've arrived. Okay. That's
Mhm.
great. Still not good. And then now I feel like, I would say things like, how does Donald Trump, now if he makes millions, billions of dollars, how does he not pay taxes? Like what I need the right people to guide me in
Yeah.
what's available tax wise. I need to be shown this. And I couldn't find it. They would just shut me down. No, that you can't do that until I found them. And
Yeah.
that's how I feel like that has shifted our lifestyle. We can do, the freedom we've been able to move into what fits us correctly. The time freedom, I work a lot when I want to. I was just away the past weekend. I was away, last weekend. My kids are just, and my husband just went on a cruise. I don't have to worry about that, but I'm not crazy like spending money. It's funny because when I didn't have money, I gambled all the time. I spent so much money. It's just very different mindset. Now I'm bored by gambling. I mean, I will still do it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm bored. Like, okay, I won $400. Okay. Like it just doesn't, I'm just donating to the casino. It just doesn't excite me anymore.
Hmm. Hmm. How have the lives of the people around you been impacted or changed?
my family is definitely seen it impacted. I try my hardest to keep my kids very grounded. My children don't drive fancy cars. My children, all their friends drive fancier cars, and they don't get that. They don't understand that. I'm like, go to work then. I do take care of things for my dad. He doesn't like it, but I have a cleaning lady go in there all the time, my cleaning lady. And I do have a cleaning person. She's here now, out there 3 days a week. She comes in 3 days a week, more of like a housekeeper. So that's been great for me because I am a control freak and I would do it all myself. And I've been able to relinquish control. And that takes some getting used to, because I'm weird about people washing my clothes, and I'm just weird about, I've always done everything myself. So I've kind of let that go. But it's the people around who I surround myself with is completely changed. Because in the beginning, I had all my girlfriends and I still know all of them, but I'm not super close to them. But the conversations we were having kept me down here.
Yes.
I know about every Kardashian, everything or anything in the, the social media, not social media, you know what I mean? The pop culture
Reality.
and who's getting divorced, who's sleeping with who's this. I mean, that's what we would do. And I was drinking tons of wine, tons of it. I mean, just, it was an unhealthy, but that was all I knew. And it was fun until it wasn't fun anymore. And it was like, I
Yes.
kept saying no, no, no to invitations. And then eventually they stopped. And that hurt. I would see it on Facebook. I would see it on social media that I wasn't included. And then I realized they're just not my people. They're not my people anymore. And that's okay. And literally my closest people, everyone lifts me up. Everyone lifts me up. I know if I'm at a table with them and I had to go to the bathroom, no one's going to talk behind my back. I mean, we just got each other, we're so supportive of each other. I'm going to tell you a crazy story. One of my friends who's a coach, and I make good amount of money. I wasn't planning on moving into this house. I did all kinds of things money wise at the end of last year, and tax things. And so it used up a lot of cash. I was never planning on buying a home because I moved to Florida because I'm building an amazing condo at the beach, and it just is not done yet. So I was just looking for fun. And then I saw something that was 90% done. This home that I'm in now, 90% finished. And then I found out it came completely done. It's going to be completely decorated and done by a designer. So I'm like, you know what? It's so hard to get furniture now. Let's just do it. And then whenever that's done, a year from now, we'll sell it and make the money. But I wasn't liquid right now. One of my Optavia friends literally said, "Oh my gosh, what do you need?" I said, "Well, like 400,000." Okay. And she gave me 400,000. I've already wired her back 200 this month, and I'm wiring her back, and I'm paying interest. I mean, what? I didn't ask for it. She offered it to me.
Yeah.
This is the kind of people, these are my people. Do you see? And I would have done that for anyone.
Yeah, likewise. So a story, I'm not going to say who these people were, but similar, and all the folks, Suzy, and one of the coaches, we were in a leadership group, and they were trying to purchase a property. I think the property was like 7-8 million or something. And they had somebody looking. We were in a state here, and they had someone looking in its other state. But the house was going to go off the market like in 2 days, and there was no way they were going to be able to get there. And they were short kind of like a couple million. And so another coach was just like, yeah, like, here, I'll wire it to you and just get it back to me.
Yeah.
And me and JC, JC Dornick, we're sitting there, we're like, this is crazy. Like, let's go. We're so freaking excited. So why do you think people, I mean, holy cow, I have a lot of people, and I know you do, Suzy, too, who come to me these days that I talked to years ago. And I was like, you guys, let's put our time and energy into this, man. Like, I saw it. I was coaching for a month and a half. I went to convention. Dude, it was just clear as day to me. I don't know why, but it was just so clear. What do you think about those folks that maybe like you talked to 7 years ago or even 6 years ago, and they just couldn't, or maybe just wouldn't see it? Like, what do you think?
Well, I did a post not too long ago that I said my heart goes out to those that didn't come along this journey with me, that said no to me, maybe multiple times. But I just want you to know it's still not too late. I've saved space for you, but do not miss out on this, people. What do I say to them? I mean, you have to be ready. It's anything. I mean, you have to be ready. They weren't ready. Fear holds people back. Staying comfortable is just all we know. And those people are just not ready to become more.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Whew. We have to take a breath. As we're ending up, I mean, you've seen, were you here when it was Take Shape for Life? Is that
Yes.
when you started? Okay.
Mhm.
So you've seen a growth and a transformation. You've seen a growth in a lot of the top leaders. Heck, you've seen, as I have, Dr. A grow and change and continue to evolve. What does Optavia sort of mean to you?
Well, Optavia is a vehicle in my mind. It is something that can help anybody wherever they are in life if they're willing to be helped.
Yeah.
I see it. I mean, we saw a lot in 2020 during the whole thing with COVID, people that were home and got laid off, let go, furloughed. They weren't looking for a health program. They were looking to reinvent themselves. And we saw so many
Yes.
people come on board and align with us and take a chance because they've been watching us, because that consistency plus time equals results. They bet against us early on, but they're like, she's still around. I mean, something must be going right. I'm watching her. She has a pretty good life, like maybe what's the worst? Maybe I will be open to hearing about it like that. So we've seen these people come around, some of them with their tail between their legs, because they were probably some of the ones blocking, that I blocked early on. But, you know, anything is possible. And it's all, we're in control of it. I wish I had my notes. I was at an event yesterday and this was 100 million mastermind. It was
Yeah.
incredible. Lots of multi-billionaires in that room. And I'm like a sponge. I like to be the lowest person in the room, and I'm just like a sponge in that room. And they know my goal is to be a billionaire by the time I'm 54. And I just learned so much from them. You got one life, people, one life. And when you say, I don't have time, you make an excuse. Everyone has excuses. They're coming large, they come small. If you justify it, I can't do it. It's an excuse. I'm just telling you, I literally was on my deathbed 2 summers ago. I still work this business. I mean, it was crazy. I almost died 2 summers, 2019.
Mm.
And you have to work your business. I've said this so many times that if you open up a store, you're never going to leave it unattended. You still have to open the doors. You have to stock it. You have to pay the people. This is your business. And the fun thing is that you just have to learn the model to rinse and repeat. And then however results you get, now you just need to intensify those results. You got to keep doing it more and more and more and more and more. And it's forever? No, it's a short time when you look at the big scale of your life. Why wouldn't you do it? And to become executive director, what I do from day one on the phone, when we do these cornerstone, whatever you call them, what do you guys call them?
Yeah, boot camps,
Okay,
mastermind.
well, the first kickoff call, when someone becomes a coach.
Oh yeah. Meet and greet.
A meet and greet. When you do those meet and greets, what I get into the head of everyone is, I just want you to know, here's how you start. 5 clients to get, in the first 30 days, you're going to earn $100 bonus. We cannot let you leave that on the table because that's a shame. Nobody in our business becomes a coach ever without having their first client, because we want them to have that win. So they have the next 30 days, 29 days, whatever, to get the 4 more. So there's that. But really, I let them know your focus is 17 full size ordering clients, because we want you to get to, you're maximizing your income. You're earning the most that you can on everyone. And at that point, now you're earning $1,000 bonus every 3 months. Once you're certified, you're earning close to $2,000 a month. It is nice side income coming in. And if you're going to do this with that effort to have 8 clients, you can do it 17 clients. It's not much more when you run it really, really smoothly. Okay. Doing the
Yeah.
same thing for everyone, regardless if you know them, if they're your best friend, if they're a stranger. You want to get to do every single thing the same way, because whatever you do, they're going to copy, whether
Right.
you're doing it right or wrong. And let me tell you, a lot of people do things wrong because they change it up. It's my friend. Wrong. It's a wrong way to go about it, because they only know what they're seeing. And then it's harder to correct later. So when you run a tight thing that I'm not going to let myself, I'm going to keep myself accountable. I'm going to set the pace. I'm going to show everyone what this model is for them to copy. And then when I see someone not following that model, hey, ideally, you want to do it like this. I'm not telling them, I'm not their boss. Ideally, this is how you would do it for this reason, because you're going to grow faster. It's going to be more easy to duplicate. And that's what we do over and
Yeah.
over and over.
You're the epitome. I talk to so many people these days and I say, you're more gifted than me. I just found a better vehicle, you
Oh,
know?
to the other people, to people.
Yeah. But you're the epitome of that. I mean, I'm sure you still had the same work ethic before. You still had the same drive. You still had this motivation. Like you still had this hunger and passion. It's just that what you were working with before, you're driving a Prius, nothing wrong with Priuses, but now you've got into something that's a freaking rocket ship, and it's
Now
so
I drive
hard.
Aston Martin. He
Tesla,
drives a Tesla, and I drive an Aston
because
Martin.
Mitch has got to bring his Tesla out so we could drive together. But I'm always trying to tell people that, like, it's fine to do whatever you want, dude, but golly, you don't really understand.
They don't understand.
If
And
you would just take what you got and fully invest it into this, holy cow, the next decade could be crazy.
yeah,
You're never going to do what you can do in 10-year time period with what you're doing as opposed to this. Never, ever. And so that's why, like you, I needed 2 months, and I was like, I came back and I was like, I'm gone. And I probably left too prematurely too, but it was just so apparent to me that I've been working for 8 years of my life at that point, Suzy. I'm a hard worker. I'm not smart. I just know how to work hard. And I was never going to get to in an 8-year period what I saw I could get to in this. Never.
right.
And it
And
just
that's why
makes
I ask people who love their jobs or they're so committed, and there's some people have high profile jobs or they've got a lot of schooling for those jobs. Where will you be in 5 years? Some of these people will be making the same amount, if not 3%, if they even get that a year, 5 years, or they work. The best is when people work up until retirement to get a pension. How much is the pension? 40 grand a year. Okay, is that going to set you for life? You're going to work 6 more years to get 40 grand a year. What if you could go all in here and make way more than that, way more than 40 in 2 years? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, but it's all they know. It's how we're trained as a society. And once they get a taste of it and they get a peek of what's possible, then they're exposed to it. I had somebody, tons of teachers have left, tons of government employees have left because they're trained, work. You get this retirement, free money. Who's going to pass up free money? Well, let me tell you, when you make money while you sleep, that's free money. When you're not doing anything, that passive income, it's free money. It's so much more here. You're trading time for money. It's just, we are trained to play small, and it's sad.
Yeah, it is.
Sad.
Wow. Suzy, how fun was this?
This was great. And I would love to know, everyone that's on here, you track your rank right now. And I would love you to tell me, I got to ED, I got to FIBC. I would love to know, because you know what? If you say, it's the Think and Grow Rich. If you say, I'm going to be ED, you put it out there. You put it out in the universe and you manifest it. I'm going to do this. And I'm also going to sponsor people, because I'm going to do everything along the way, the proper way. I'm going to expose them to Coach Explorers. I'm not going to take a referral. I'm going to go back to them. Aren't you going to be talking to them too about the program? Let me show you what it would look like to earn. No. I don't have that kind of time. Do I spend a lot of time with you? Go back. Before you take on these referrals, make sure they understand what coaching looks like for them. At the very least, they could have their food covered 5 clients. You need how many senior coach to become a fully integrated business coach? 5. I mean, you can do this. You can do this. It's not difficult. When you think about that, it's 25 clients. 25 clients become fully integrated. 25 clients under 5 coaches. When you break it down like that, and that's why I love, if you become an ED, and that's why I've talked about this before, you get a jar and you have 200 marbles in it, and you could be the first marble. You move every time someone becomes an ED, either you or underneath of you, you move over the marble. And your goal is to get every one of those 200 marbles to this side. And when you do that, you're at 100 grand a month in income. Okay. It is possible. All right. It is very possible.
Let's go. Oh, you guys, please fill up the chat with love and appreciation.
Sure.
Suzy, I love you guys. Thank you to Mitch. Mitch, what up, Mitch? Thank you for spending some time with these guys. Wow.
Who's
We
gonna
got a
be
lot.
ED? Who's
Who's gonna be ED?
This month. I want to know, put a one in the
This
chat
month.
if you're going to be an ED this month.
Look at this thing, dude.
Don't, I'm telling you, these people should be the ones that are working at 11 o'clock at night on the last day of the month. These are the people that should be working because it is worth it. Okay. And then you don't become a one-hit wonder. Then you're like, okay, next month, who are my next people? Who are my next people? And you keep bringing on coaches. And then you just made it awesome. And who's going to be at FIBC for the first time at the end of this month or even at the end of April?
Yep.
That's great. That's great.
Love
So
it.
yeah, it's all in the sponsoring, and it's all, just so you know, and this is, then I'll let you go because I know we've been on for a while, but when I first became a coach, and I told you, Dr. Anderson said that to me, if you had a pulse, I'd make you a coach. I mean, I was so desperate, we are not desperate. We get to choose who we partner with. If someone they have no friends on Facebook, they're not someone that's attractable, do not partner with them. It's never going to gel. I promise you, it's going to be a waste of your time and their energy, their efforts. Okay. Then you want to take a look at their posting on Facebook. Take a look at how many friends they have on Facebook. Take a look at, are they likable? There's people whose just personalities are not likable.
Yes,
These are not
yes.
people you want to mesh with. You get to choose. And I love the nice people that just want to help their mom. Okay. Give them a double referral credit. All right. Do not bring on someone that doesn't have a desire they don't see this. Either you didn't awaken them enough to see it, or they just said, no, I'm good. I don't care. I don't care about I don't want to help people. Great. And so sometimes I'll even say how difficult it is to be a coach to the people I don't want. I'm like, okay, you're going to have to do 25 lives a day. You're going to have to, because I don't want them to come on. I don't want to waste my time. If there's people that are hotshots in the sales world. They come in with massive ego. They want to rewrite everything.
Yes.
That's a brick road, right? A brick wall. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you will learn this. You're not desperate. Become attractionable. And remember, what energy you put out there is what happens. So if you want more clients, then you're posting transformations. You're posting about your story. You're posting about that. But if you want to attract coaches, you want to show how coaching's impacting your life. You want to show all about coaching, why coaching's so great, the freedom that you're now having and how fulfilled you feel because you have a purpose. And then this is happening. These people are getting healthy. Post your clients. I love waking up. My favorite thing to do, and everyone could do this, is at 1 weekend, they send over their weigh-in to you, right? You scroll back up and you see the weigh-in from day one. Minus out the difference and always put a summary that is a wow. Oh my goodness, 6 pounds gone your first week on program. I love knowing you feel so great. You have so much energy, whatever. Then, do you mind if I post this anonymously? So I'm taking their screenshot of their scale and my intentional response. And that's a great post. I love waking up to happy clients like this. This is why I love doing what I do. That's a real post. And you can have those every week. Okay. Those are fun things.
I love it. Suzy, we owe so much to you. I'm so grateful for you. You're a freaking rock star. 7, 8 years. Look what's possible. Look what's possible. Let's go. I'm ready to go talk to everybody in Tennessee. All you new EDs, let's go party. All you new FIBCs, let's go party. Suzy, I love you. Thank you so much for saying yes to the mission. And thank you for jumping on. You guys, let's get to work. Thank you, Suzy.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much.